It's me. Leave a message at the beep.
Hey man, it's me. So, here we are. It's the holidays. It's coming up on Thanksgiving. And, this is my first Thanksgiving without my mom. It's my first Thanksgiving as an orphan. My dad died in the 90s, and my grandma died just a year and a half ago. And my mom was my last, link to the older generation, and she's gone. And so, it's a tough time of year. And with my mom gone, I was just thinking, if you're going to be out here in town, I was thinking, how should we celebrate? I mean, should we get some strippers? What should we do? Because Ding Dong the Witch is dead. So, really, we gotta, the past years have been so miserable because it's like, oh, fuck, I gotta go deal with my mom. And especially last year's like, oh, fuck, my mom's like dying and shit. But she's gone. So, hey, man, what do you want to do? Should we, take in a laser show? That'd be cool. Maybe we should go to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse and then get an Uber and shit in his car. I don't know, but I want to do something big because this is a big year, man. We gotta celebrate. Okay, buddy, call me back. Bye.
Welcome back, my friends. It is the 11/7 podcast number 68 of the Glossy News 4K podcast, the Brian K. White news, reviews, politics, funny stories, goofy jokes, all that good shit podcast. I am your gracious host when I can bother to be that. I'm Brian, and you apparently are one of my listeners, so welcome, I say to you, my friends, I say welcome. I've got some great stuff coming up in the next weeks. Today I've got just a few things. I've got a funny story about bears coming out of machines. That's a true story. And it's not even a joke. It's actually a true story. The context matters. We'll get to that later. I've got I've got another final update on the election because I just can't help myself. The election, it's too stressful. Get it over with. Can we not do 16-month elections for president anymore? Because it's too much. Other countries do like a month or 3. Nobody does 16. This is ridiculous. And I guarantee you, by the end of this year, less than 2 months from the election, you will already have 2020 candidates in Iowa, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania. It's so stupid. We've got to end this. But the problem is there's a lot of ways you could fix politics, but most of them, nearly all of them, require the politicians themselves to be reasonable, which they only will do so long as it's consistent with their ability to remain in power. Why would they pass a law that's great for the masses but bad for them? Why? Why would you do that? Why? Because it's the right thing to do, you bastards. How dare you? So, great news. I've got a lot of fun stories coming up in the coming weeks. My Christmas project is coming along masterfully. It's back on track. Not the 100% track, but a reasonable, it's going to happen. It will happen. You'll see. And if you don't, well, you're not looking. So guys, with all that said, let me get to this week's sponsor. This week's podcast is brought to you in part by Not Giving a Fuck. Not Giving a Fuck. It really saves time. It saves energy. And it is kind of nice. Not giving a fuck. It doesn't matter. All right. Cool. Let's get started.
My crazy mom. My crazy mom. She's dead. My crazy mom. My crazy mom.
been a while since we've talked about my crazy mom, and this one is actually an exception. It's once again not my crazy mom. This one is my crazy wife's crazy mom's crazy mom. No, wait. My crazy wife's crazy dad's crazy stepmom or adopted mom? I don't remember. Anyway, she's absolutely batty bonkers. Love her to death now that she's, old enough that the crazy is somewhat palatable. It's great. She's wonderful. You'd love her. So Dina told me that I was telling her a story about one time when I won a teddy bear for my boy at one of those claw machines at a Denny's. Well, what happens is claw machines are not games of skill, they're games of chance. Now, there's an ounce of skill to it, but really it's a game of chance because they're rigged in such a way that no matter how good you are, you can't win every time. Only something like 1 in 20 times will the claw grab with sufficient strength to give you a bear. So they're really games of chance. And in Canada, they've been defined as such. So in Canada, where games of chance are relegated to casinos and games of skill. So anyway, in Canada, even if you lose and don't get a bear, it has to give you a piece of candy for your $1. That way you got something. So I'm at Denny's with a coworker, and I see a guy wins a bear. I'm like, well, he's the 1 in 20 or 1 in 50 or 1 in 10 million. Who knows? And then, like a half hour later, I see someone else win a bear, and it clicks. The machine's broken. So I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get up there. So I go up, pump a buck into the machine, lose. Okay, you know what? I know the math is sound. I got to do this. $1 more, boom, won a bear. And I was like, wow, I should do another one. All right, so $1 more, didn't win, forget it, I'm out. $3 for what's essentially a $4 or $5 bear. It's great. My son's going to love it. Tell my wife this story. Tell her the story. She's like, oh, you know what? My grandma, she always wins those machines. And I thought, wow, that's improbable. Whatever. And then I let it go. And then some instance came up months later and she mentioned, oh yeah, my grandma, she plays these and she always wins. And it dawned on me. She doesn't win because she's good. She doesn't win because she's lucky. She wins because she's willing to pump enough money into the goddamn machine so that eventually the algorithm gives up and says, well, it's been long enough. Somebody deserves a bear. Here you go. Wasn't the greatest story, but some of the best stories in life, some of the very best you will ever hear are not great stories. There you go. There you go. So last week I said the podcast was sponsored in part by not smoking, and this week I wanted to go into detail because last week, we ran a little long, and so here we are, vaping. Vaping, I know it's not just what you do to look like a douche, it's what you actually do to save a bunch of money while dying less quickly. Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be great to find a way in which to die less quickly? So there's a bunch of benefits, but let's go into cost first because that's the biggest part. So how much does smoking cost? Well, the short answer is a fortune. The longer answer is check it out. I quit smoking on August 19th. Today is November 6th. So that's been 79 days at $7.50 a pack, which, your results may vary. Depending on your state, depending on what you smoke, depending on your sales tax rates. $7.50 is where I was at. It was like $6.75 plus tax or $7. Anyway, so that means I would have spent at 1 pack a day $593. That's a lot of money. Oh, that's a lot of money. How much vaping costs? Well, I had to buy my Pi vapey thing, my P2, whatever. It's top of the line. It's great. It was recommended to me by Jasva Jones, and he said, get something you don't want to outgrow too quickly. I had to buy my first couple juice bottles, and then I bought more bottles along the way. This is what I've actually consumed since then. Total cost $376. So simple math says days so far is 79, ounces used is 19. I'm only at a quarter bottle a day. So that's right there. Numbers is what it is. So let's check it out. Vape cost and savings. What I would have spent is $593. What I actually spent was $376. So I saved $200 already for a daily savings of almost $3. Monthly savings $83. I'm on a course to save $1,000 a year, but that assumes the cost of the actual device, and you only have to buy that once. So let's look at the real cost. $593 back to actually spent $172 just on juices and consumables for a savings of $421. So I'm saving $5 a day for a monthly savings of $162 or a yearly savings of almost $2,000. So where you get your juice matters. You can get it at an upmarket shop. Sometimes it's $25, $27. I don't recommend that. You can get it at a normal shop, which is, any of the suburban places, $20, $22. And this is per ounce we're talking. Online, it's $10. A lot of places, $10 to $12, maybe $15, depending what you get. Vape Wild, which is where I get my stuff, $6.99. $6.99. That's pretty great. So that means your daily cost is going to be more like at an upmarket shop compared to smoking, you're saving $274 a year. Compare that to a normal shop, you're saving $700 a year. Online, you're saving $1,800. Vape Wild, you're saving $2,000 a year. $2,000 a year. $2,000 a year. I mean, that's huge. So the other thing you got to consider is your life is just plain better. It's just plain better. You don't smell like smoke. And because it's not smoking, you tend to consume a little less nicotine. Because when you light a cigarette, you keep it going until it goes out. Even if you just wanted a drag or two, now you got the whole thing, might as well finish it. You don't stain your fingers. You don't stain your teeth. You don't make your clothes smell like a bingo hall. It's great. You can walk up a flight of stairs without getting short of breath. There's so much to love about it. So I recommend it in here. There's two sites I mentioned, thirstycoils.com. I've had great luck with them. Vape Wild. I bought their website. They've got these sampler packs where it's 6 10 milliliter bottles. Each one is, what would that be, a third of an ounce. So you can get 6 different flavors, and it's like $10, $13 or something. It's very cheap. I don't remember now, but it's very cheap. And so you get those. I bought 2 different variety packs. I got a total of 12, and out of the flavors I picked, and it was based on other flavors I've had at other places and knowing what I like. I like fruity stuff. I like breakfast stuff. I like dessert stuff. I think out of the 12, there was 1 or 2 I didn't like. Anyway, went back, ordered a bunch more. They haven't come yet. They're not in my numbers. They're not in my numbers yet because I haven't got them and I haven't used them. But I know what they are. And if you look online, Vape Wild actually has really good reviews. They've been around for a few years. They're one of the leaders in price and service. And, I haven't had any issues with them. But, maybe that's, I Googled them in advance and they look good. So anyway, that, my friends, that is how you save a bunch of money, but not smoking. And also by looking, I guess, like a dick sometimes. Yeah, who cares?
Political analysis. Politics.
Okay, yeah, I know. I said I wouldn't do any more politics, but in the last week, the election has gotten just hairy. Clinton has gone from being a 90%, 85, 90% favorite to being a 2-to-1 favorite. I like 10-to-1 odds a lot more than I like, 2-to-1 odds. So what's going on? Well, the internet is having its field day on both sides in both respective bubbles with nearly zero overlap. I would say zero overlap. And early voting is coming in strong numbers. Something like 40 million people have already voted, myself included. Pretty much everyone I've asked, not necessarily everyone I know, but everyone I've asked has already voted. And that's fine. And, Donald is saying, oh, you should, if you live in Wisconsin or Michigan or one of these other states, you should change your vote. Yeah, but you said that at a rally. Those people are already voting for you, you dumb orange bastard. You Cheeto tangerine Mussolini crazy bastard. It's fine. It's great. So what do I want to say? Well, in the last 2 days, polls have flattened. Hillary is still favored by at least 2-to-1, depending which aggregate you look at. 538 says she's 2-to-1-ish. Princeton Election Consortium still says she's favored 50-to-1. Most sites say she's 4-to-1, 5-to-1-ish. So I'm comfortable with that. But the biggest thing to me, a lot of elections are a referendum on a party or a candidate or a policy. But this one is not. This election is a referendum on decency. This says, is it okay to be a huge a-hole to everyone all the time, or is it not? And it's dangerously close to tipping in the wrong direction. Now, what can I threaten to do should I not get my way? Will I move to Canada or Mexico or Antarctica? The penguins do look nice this time of year. It's summer down there. They're looking good. But no, they're dirty bastards and I'll have nothing to do with them. Black, white, pick a side, penguins. You're not convincing anyone. So I'm kind of backing off from the internet right now because I'm driving myself crazy and I just can't handle it. It's too much. It's too much dealing with these people. So, Hill Dog, love ya. See ya on Election Day and I'll see you on Inauguration Day. Donald, I hope you go bankrupt in horribly bad ways because you're a terrible person and you deserve to be relegated to the bottom rung of the worst chapter in American history. So, yeah, that's kind of my thinking on it. I did have an opportunity to engage with a troll from the Donald on Reddit who got me a 1-day ban. And the mods were gracious. 1-day ban, nothing big. So I went and looked at his comments and found 10 that were inappropriate and reported them all from 3-4 different accounts. And he's banned for a week, so he can't even comment until after the election, which is great because he's insufferable, which is kind of Donald's demographic. It's his demographic. So it's great. And the ban gives me an opportunity to, finish the goddamn podcast, which is also great because apparently that's something I need to do. So, yeah, that's where we're at for this week, my friends.
Lost will test and
So planning last will stuff isn't fun and it isn't funny and it isn't, lighthearted or entertaining or whatever you'd like to describe it as, whatever. The point is it has to happen. It does happen. Make it happen. It happens. So thing is, and this happened when I was a kid. My mom worked at a third-party administrator, which is like an insurance company, except it's the people behind the insurance company who make the insurance company actually profitable. And one of the things they dealt with was end-of-life care. And one of the things that she, imbued upon me in my young formative years, when I was too young, I guess, to understand all the countless things wrong with what she was saying, was that you reach a point when you just gotta let go. Now, if you listened to the podcast last week, you know that despite her professional understanding of the fact that you just gotta let it go, she never did. So that's fine. No, what this is about is when I was like 15, 16, she taught me you reach a point, you just gotta let it go. And when I was in Canada, I was at this church, and they were this wacko, uber pro-life in, weird ways kind of church. And they said, well, how would you feel if you were in a coma and somebody chose to pull the plug? How would you feel? And I said, well, if I'm brain dead, let me go. And do I really want to be a burden emotionally and financially on my family forever, for months, for years, for decades? No, I don't want that. I'm not coming back. You reach a point, you gotta cut the ties. You gotta, count your losses, go home. But here's what I want. This is part of my living will, not my last will, despite the name of the segment. This is my living will. Should I be put on life support? Should I not wake up? My friends, my family, my loved ones, listen to me. I want you to have the courage to do that thing you know you don't want to do. I want you to unplug me. And then plug me back in. See if that works. I mean, if there's anything I've learned from years of dealing with tech support, it's that is, if nothing's going to work, that'll do it, right? Just unplug me, jam it back in. Let's see if I reboot. Okay, well, that's my living will and testy mentals. Books. Books.
For your face.
Books. So yeah, this week I've got a hot book for your face. How does that feel? Would you like a hot book all upon that face of yours? Well, I've got a recommendation. So what I was looking for was something fun and comedic and lighthearted, but also, a classic. Now you could go with a lighthearted classic like all the Hitchhiker's Guide books. I've got those on my Kindle. I will reread them. They're wonderful. Can't wait. No, I wanted something more exciting and something that I hadn't read before. So I sought out a classic author, someone famous. And what was his name? Something, not Bust a Gut. Vonnegut. Kurt Vonnegut. Yeah, so I picked up his book, Slaughter House 5, I think it was called. And I gotta say, it was dry. It's a dry comedy. It's definitely dark. It's a dark comedy about a guy who served in World War II as a chaplain. And it's really fun because I'm not sure if the version I got had been put on shuffle because the timeline's all screwed up. But yeah, it's so funny. There's Nazis and there's aliens and there's, there's a crazy wife. It's so dry and dark. And really, I don't know how And what I thought was funny, because I also then went back and watched the movie version from 1972. The movie version gave a whole different perspective on this very clever comedy, Slaughterhouse 5. And in the movie version, they kept calling it Slaughterhouse 5, and I was like, oh my gosh, that is pure wordplay. That is so funny. It almost makes more sense in the context. I was like, oh gosh, it's biting. It's a satire that's so biting, because in it so many people die, and his wife dies from pure stupidity, and it's his father-in-law dies from stupidity. His cohorts in the war die from stupidity. It's brilliant. It's so funny. And in the movie, there's the added bonus of boobs. I mean, boobs. There's so much boobage. It's wonderful. I don't know how movies like this ever used to get made. It seems like the sort of thing where, today the movie would be NC-17. You could never make a comedy like this. So there's my recommendation. There's my hot book for your face. And the movie, you can check it out too. I'm sure it's available somewhere. You can just probably torrent it, because I cannot imagine the studio is actually watching to see who's looking for that one. Slaughterhouse 5, Kurt Von Negut. It's great. Check it out. Well. Okay, you know what? It's a short podcast. And it's because the election is driving me nutso bonkers, and I'm losing my goddamn mind. Now, I should tell you that this podcast will probably be available sometime around noon on Sunday, and it is presently about 7:45 a.m. on Sunday. So if you're hearing this on Sunday, congratulations, my voice is fresh. It's fresh. It's not minty. Believe you me. There's like 10 jokes I'm not going to make there. I was going to say it smells like your mom's ass, but that would be a horrible thing to say about your mother, who is lovely and wonderful, and I happen to know her ass tastes of lavender. So, no, I'm gonna, just cut it off there. So follow me around the web, should you dare. GlossyNews.com/podcast has all the links to the social media, them's Twitters, them's Facebook, them's all the other shit I don't use anymore. All of it, it's all there. Check it out. Don't be a dick. Seriously, for the love of God, don't be a dick. And when I say that, what I really mean is like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. Do you not have any friends? You're listening to this. Surely they would love it almost as much as you do. And that is assuming you do, and that this isn't just some sort of self-flagellation. It's fine if it is. It's whatever. The podcast is what you make of it. Segment bumpers by Greg the Hero. Backing music, the intros and outros by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com. Guys, in the name of all that's holy, won't you do me the kindness of seeing me next Sunday? Seeing me? That's not going to happen. At least listen. You got to listen. If you don't, well, what the hell is this all about? Seriously, what is it? All right. Okay. Fair enough. Closing thought. There's always a closing thought, and this is it for the week. You know that you're a grown-up, not an adult, but an actual grown-up, when you hear your house make creaking noises. And you're not scared that it's a ghost. You're scared that it's going to be an expensive repair. Alrighty, guys. See you next Sunday for the regulars, Monday for the rest, and be good to each other and be good to yourselves. Blah.